Yeah, so if I just, because, pre-season we don't really do updates, but Barlow rolled an ankle, he'll miss a week or so. It's not ideal, but he's so resilient, he'll be fine. Daniel Pearce had the slight calf, he could probably play, being conservative. And Paul Duffield, rib, just had some rib cartilage. I don't know where the dislocated rib come from. It was a big headline, but it was inaccurate. So he'll miss a week. And he had something similar last year, and you just local it a little bit while it heals. So there's no 5 or 6, just for our fans and members, there's no 5 or 6 weeks absence there. Just
okay, so when have you got a time frame on his return?
Not an exact, maybe next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, he should probably play the Eagles.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
With Fife, are you hoping just to get minutes into him? Is there a minute restriction?
Yeah, we'll probably restrict him, Ibbotson and Sandilands, maybe half a game, maybe 3/4, depending on how they feel.
Nice for Nat just to get out there and after his injury in pre-season just to...
Yeah, he just had a little nick. He was frustrated. He loves training and competing more than anything. His thing is he's a competitive beast, so he'll enjoy the challenge of facing Jack and Kennedy and McVeigh and all. They're in a Parker. They're an elite midfield, so we're under no illusions it's going to be tough. But we all understand we're also building. But we like to get the points. We like to, when we beat Melbourne, it was good, and Sydney have beaten us in a couple of close games. So yeah, it'd be nice to get out there and try and get the points.
Do you expect Barlow and Mundy to play against West Coast next week?
Monday.
Barlow and Mundy.
Monday should be playing in Sydney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Barlow next week.
Well, hopefully.
When do you expect Zach Dawson to be back?
Yeah, he's really made some really good ground over the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I haven't got an exact date. I've learnt no close-ended statements, because if I make one, you guys hold me to it. So I tend not to put dates and figures on things now. So, but in saying that, I got no real feel. We're saying the early rounds.
What's happened with him? Has there been some kind of setback? You say he's tracking okay. Has there been?
He's tracking. Well, clearly there's been a setback because he's in rehab. So he's had some.
From the initial injury time, or
I don't know what the initial injury time was. It's been. He flared up. He worked too hard off his own bat, and he just flared up his groins, and they take a while to settle down. It can be a bit bony. It can be adductors. It's a complicated area. It's not exact science there. So, but he's back running and pulling up pain-free. So from there, he should make some rapid progress, hopefully.
Was it an OP or is it a torn groin?
Hey?
Is it osteitis pubis or is it a torn tear?
What's a tall groin?
Well, it's a tear in there. OP's inside.
What's there?
Well, it's the top of your thigh and your origins of your thigh.
Yeah, your adductors.
Or OP's inside your pelvic bone.
Yeah,
also.
I think it's a bit of everything.
We touched on Sydney's depth. With no McFarlane and Dawson, it's a chance to sort of experiment a little bit with Franklin and in particular.
Well, Silvani will probably go to Franklin when he's around in his area. You've got Johnson, and you've got Tanner Smith, and we know Main can play this. So, yeah, it's important that this time of year, rather than, no Dawson, doesn't look like he'll be there for the early rounds. But McFarlane's in good nick, and Silvani's playing well. So Tanner Smith gets an opportunity. Alex Pearce will make his return at the Waffle. We've got really high hopes and expectations for him, but he's had the bone stress fracture, stress reaction. So you've got to unload him for 6 weeks so it doesn't move to a more serious fracture. So he's had that 2 years running. So he's a bit behind where we'd like him to be in his development, but we just know we've got something very good there, and when he gets a run at it, he'll come through.
Is Pearce's leg worries? It's a typical young man's Brumbies type of.
Yeah, it's a good point. Look, we only let him do 80% of the full program as they're building, and we're super conservative. We still ran into some problems, but a few of our young kids for the first time this year. But I think it's a reflection. A few of our kids for the first time this year, we've had about 4 or 5 stress reactions, which we've never had before, or rarely. So I think it's an indication of everyone's doing more volume of training, and because the game's changing to more continuous, so less explosive, more continuous, and it puts your younger bodies at risk, even though we do our best to manage them. But often they come through out of the under-18 competition fully loaded up. They're playing school football, TAC Cup and Championships games, and they get ready for the combine, and so they often come in a little bit damaged.
Do you think it's too much for them at that age? Would you like to see it pulled back a little?
Well, I don't know the exact detail, but we do know at times, it's a little bit too much, and sometimes just the ability, they don't get monitored, and all their wellness and their fatigue levels like they do at AFL clubs. So sometimes, and the kids are so desperate to get drafted, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them, that they'll push through and hide information from people trying to look after them. So I think it's as much them pushing through and not sharing the information they need to share, and they can just end up a bit worn out. So they get the clubs and they just need to be rebuilt a little bit.